This is an overview of the one-to-one implementation in middle grades at Springfield Public Schools. SPS teachers have been able to utilize student technology to create engaging lessons and units that require students to collaborate, think critically, and problem solve while still allowing their own creativity to shine through. Students are learning new programs every year to utilize in their schoolwork. Some of these were taught to them by their teacher, and some were discovered on their own. Since SPS first implemented the one-to-one program, I have seen vast improvements in students' productivity levels. As the novelty of the computer wears off, the Chromebook becomes less of a distraction and more of an educational tool. As a whole, I would say SPS teachers have reached and maintained the level of designer according to the ISTE standards. The teachers are often seeking out new technologies to better the learning of their students and are often finding new ways to differentiate and accommodate individual student needs with the use of technology. In order to reach the stages of facilitator and analyst, teachers need to be providing alternative ways for students to demonstrate competency. At the moment, I would say most teachers are overwhelmed with large class sizes and too many other expectations to be creating a variety of assessments, individual to each unique student a majority of the time. The current device the middle school students are using at SPS is an HP Chromebook. The Chromebook that was chosen is extra shock absorbent, which is critical if it is being used by 11 to 14-year-olds. The Chromebook is simple to use and requires no troubleshooting compared to a PC. The cloud-based system makes it easy for students to save things and access them later, either on their Chromebook or another device. The Google systems, such as Docs and Slides, that the students use often, save their work automatically. These devices seem to be indestructible. The only repairs ever needed are on the hardware itself and never for the system. I would not suggest going with another device unless the district decided to go with an upgraded version of what the students currently have. Changes in the classroom have been gradual since the one-to-one implementation, but there is nothing wrong with that. Before SPS was one-to-one, teachers could check out laptop carts if they were available. This allowed teachers to assign research papers or allow students the ability to create presentations. After switching one-to-one, teachers first began substituting assignments that would normally be on paper with an assignment that can be typed. Students were making more presentations since they had their own device. Throughout the years since the implementation, many, if not most teachers, have graduated past substitution to augmentation or modification. Lessons are being created that were not possible before the one-to-one implementation. In order to rise to the final stage, redefinition, teachers need additional training on programs that exist and are useful. They need to be given time during the workday to work with new programs and to design lessons with the support of experts who can help. Springfield Public Schools is in session more days than it needs to be, according to the state minimum in an academic year. I suggest we develop more face-to-face PD days on Mondays in the academic calendar that are more than just work days. The training should be divided by elementary, middle, and high school, and perhaps by subject. At those PD days, the employees that are tasked with blended learning can share with teachers new programs and teach them how to use them. Not only should the program be taught, but teachers need time to be able to play with it and create a lesson or unit that aligns with it. I suggest adding PD days instead of redesigning the ones already in place, because the teachers need those work days that are built in at the end of the quarters for catching up on grading and submitting quarterly grades. The content filtering program SPS uses is GoGuardian. When the students are on school Wi-Fi, the technology department has attempted to block or filter anything inappropriate from showing up on their devices. Some things make their way through the filter, but the web is so massive that the reality is some things will be able to pass by. Our IT department was able to lock down the Chrome store this year. If a teacher wants their students to have an extension, they send in a request for it to be available to students. They have attempted to lock down dark web browsers, but have not been 100% successful. Some students will always find a way around the system, and SPS is doing the best they can to protect students from inappropriate content. CK12 is a free online platform for students and teachers. The curriculum is aligned to Common Core and Next Generation Science standards. I propose teachers in our district begin using this as a digital resource for our students. Currently, middle school students use LearnZillion and Prodigy for math, TCI for social studies, Discovery Education for science, StudySync for English, and Reading Plus or System 44 for reading. It would be wonderful to utilize one source for a majority of these subjects. Many of the concepts in the CK12 overlap since it is all found in one system. Creating those overlaps and that common learning can prove to be beneficial to student learning. The most useful application SPS currently uses is Canvas. Canvas is a portal that can be used for creating assignments, quizzes, and announcements, communicating with students and parents through an announcement or privately through a message, and it is a portal for most of the other programs students use. Read and Write is an application that has proven to be useful in my classroom for students with special needs. Nearpod is an app most Cherokee teachers have begun using often. Students can follow along with the presentation, interact with the content, and are not distracted by their Chromebooks because it locks them into the presentation. Kahoot is definitely still a popular app. Teachers probably utilize it at least once for every unit. iReady is used district-wide 3 times a year. Although the students dislike the program, it is very useful to teachers to receive instant data on where each student is at. The test is adaptive and changes based on what they're getting right and wrong. It helps teachers guide and modify their instruction. An app I think the school district should pilot is Google Classroom. I say it should be piloted and not simply adopted because an app needs to be used long term to decide whether or not it meets the needs of the school or district. Google Classroom would be replacing Canvas. We are a Google Cloud-based school, so it only makes sense to utilize their app to do everything else. Overall, SPS provides its students and teachers with adequate tools, resources, and training to be successful. However, I believe with more training set aside for teachers, we can transform the classroom and how we utilize technology to reach the redefinition level of the SAMR model.